Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Pregnancy is a Personal Experience. My name is Sandra Jones-Keller, and I'm an intuitive pregnancy coach and spiritual energy healer. What does that mean exactly? I teach new moms, pregnant moms, and want to be moms and dads how to develop a deeper spiritual bond with their babies, how to develop intuitive two-way communication, which gives you more peace, certainty, and security on your trying to conceive and on your pregnancy journey. So I'm thrilled to be here with you with Dr. Darnita Henry, and we're doing these to share what can happen during pregnancy. Not that this is, and it's a personal experience, because every pregnancy is so different. I know when I was pregnant, so many things came up that I didn't expect to come up or didn't even know were there. And so this is just an opportunity for you to kind of get an inside look on someone else's pregnancy. Good afternoon, Darnita. How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
So let's see. We're going to jump back to last Friday, because last Friday we did another energy session. And so just tell us a little bit about what happened. You'd gone to see your doctor.
Yes, I went to see my midwives, and I had a consultation with the obstetrician the same day. So I had two appointments. The first appointment was really pretty routine. We listened to the baby's heartbeat and checked my weight, and that was really about it. Then we sat down with the OB just to talk about how I was doing and how I'm feeling and what his concerns may be. And he was stating that since the last pregnancy, there was the aneurysm and the emergency cesarean, that he'd like for me to get an MRI this time. So yeah, I think that kind of got me a little bit nervous just to hear that. But as we talked about, I believe from talking with you, we had a session because I think I was a little antsy about that because I just I didn't know what to expect. So yeah, that's basically what happened.
Okay, and so during the session, and it's funny because, you know, when I'm doing energy work, sometimes I remember what I say and sometimes I don't. And afterwards I try to write down notes. But you said that during one of our sessions prior to that, that I said that your OB would say something that would kind of, you know, make you nervous or scare you. And so it's funny, I don't even remember saying that. So when you went to your doctor and he started talking about, actually it wasn't just the MRI. Remember he was saying other birth options too, he brought up.
Yes. Okay. So during our session, a previous session, you said that it was very important that I get grounded, that I start being more intuitive with myself and with the baby so that we can establish this connection to know how we're doing and that we are okay. And you said, well, you know, it's gonna be very important because if you don't do that and do that early, then other people outside of you are going to reflect back any not insecurities, but any kind of unease that you have about the birth, they're going to have it. So I've been trying to keep that in mind. And I just thought it was very peculiar when I went to the OB and he said, yeah, that we talked about the birth options and sounds like, you know, best case scenario, we'll do a VBAC. And we're going to see what the MRI says because we want to, you know, make sure that with the doubling of the blood volume while being pregnant, that there's no signs of there being another maybe instability in an artery. So, so that was one thing. And then he said, you know, due to the MRI, that maybe the recommendation may be to do a gentle extraction, help the baby out where I don't have to push as much, those types of things. So yeah, I just kind of was, like I said, a little surprised because of course I've always thought that the body is made female. I'm a female. My body is made to birth. You know what I mean? That's just an intuitive thing, an intuitive process, and that's not something that needs a whole lot of intervention.
Absolutely. So it was great. So we had a wonderful conversation, and one of the things that came up during the session, when I looked at the doctor energetically, and I looked at you, and I really got the sense that he was looking out for your best interest. But what also came through was that it would be a good idea for you to go ahead and get this MRI just to have a baseline, and to have a baseline earlier in the pregnancy than later, because it looked like as your pregnancy progresses, your body's going to shift and change. And when they measure you, say it was, I think it was around 26 to 28 weeks, your measurements would look quite different than they do now. But if you have the MRI and you have this baseline to go by, then once you're at the 28 weeks and beyond, they can look and compare and say, okay, you know, she's right on track. Versus if you don't have this baseline, if you don't have anything for them to compare it to, it just looked like energetically they may get a little alarmed or more alarmed than was necessary.
Gotcha. So yeah, so that's the plan, is to go ahead and schedule it. This is Monday, so there's been a little bit of running around up until now. So my plan though is to go ahead and get it scheduled.
Okay. And how are you feeling about that?
I feel okay. I don't think I feel any anxiety about it or anything. My main question, that's any mom's question, is going to be is, well, is this safe for the baby? That's my main concern. So he assured me that it is. This will be a brain MRI. So I guess we shouldn't have too much exposure to the baby, hopefully.
Okay. And another thing that came through very clearly, and this is not only for you, Darnita, but it's for all the pregnant women out there, because it was very clear your guidance was for you to stay ahead of the game. And what that meant was stay ahead of eating, stay ahead of sleeping. So eat before you're ravenous, sleep before you're exhausted, drink before you're thirsty, because it just looked like energetically, if you start getting behind, it's going to create undue stress on you. And it's the same as, like, say, like for me, for example, when I have an appointment and I'm 10 minutes early, when I'm driving to my appointment, I'm more courteous than ever. I'm not rushed. I let people in. I'm taking my time. I'm not trying to beat every yellow light going down the street. When I'm right on time, I'm a little more stressed, but I may not let that driver in that I would have let in if I was 10 minutes early. But man, when I'm 10 minutes late, I'm pushing it. I'm rushing. I'm more aggressive. I'm watching the lights. I'm gripping. And so the level of stress that I create by being late is, something that I can control, and it's just really hard on my body. And so that's what I saw energetically for you, that you don't want to wait until you're ravenous or really even hungry before you eat. You don't want to wait until like, oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty before you drink, because then you're already behind the curve. And then your body is feeling that stress, trying to catch up and then get ahead. So the more discipline you can have, but just being in touch with your body, being in touch with your baby, so that you are always ahead of what's necessary. Sleep and rest before you get tired, Don't wait until it's like the end of the day and you're absolutely exhausted and you can barely lift your head to stop. Take breaks throughout the day. Even if you don't feel tired, let your body rest, let you regenerate, so that you don't get to the point of exhaustion, so that you're not creating that extra stress on your body. And so I say this to you, and I say this to all the pregnant women, because I know that when I was pregnant, I had a tendency to try to push it. Well, I should be able to do this, this, and this. Well, you know what? That's not what my body wanted. So the more gentle, the more relaxed you can be, the more in tune you can be with your body, the more in tune you can be with your baby, then the gentler will be, the easier your experience will be, and that level of stress will be minimized. So that was another message that came through very clearly. Do you have any other questions for today?
No, but I did want to just remark that I have taken note of that. as far as when we got off the phone just that day, I had someone to call me, and she was really trying to see how she could. I'm helping my little one with a snack, so just hold on 1 second. Here you go. You're welcome. So she called, and we tried to work it out where she could make it over. She works pretty far from my office, and she lives in a totally opposite direction of where she works and my office is. And your voice just kept coming to me because, and she kept saying, well, I know you have two little kids, and I don't want to really push you and make you have to stay in the office much longer than you would ordinarily stay. And you just kept coming into my mind, because before we had that talk, 15 minutes before that, when we were on the phone speaking, I probably would have just tried to figure out how to make it work. And I told her, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'm pretty sure that I know someone in that area that I can refer you to. And I referred her to someone else. And I even told another young lady who wanted to come in that evening. I had been in class all day. I was doing continuing education. So, every year we have to have a certain amount of hours in order to make sure that we stay current with our license. So that last weekend was my weekend of trying to make sure that we get these 20 hours in. And at the end of the day, she was like, well, I had told her the day before that I could make time for her around 5:30 because she come in then. She never responded. Then she responded the next day and told me she could come in that day at 5:30. Well, I'm going to be in class until 6 at least. I know this, 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So I'm not going to make it back over in time for us to do that. And I'm going to be hungry by then. So I was just like, that's just not going to work for me, because I was thinking about you. Ordinarily, I would have said, yeah, let's see how we can, but it was the best thing for me. Not just that I was thinking about you, but I thought about what you said in order to take care of me. And I understood, when we made it back home, Maddie and she was at school with me all day, doing her lesson. And by the time we made it back, we ate dinner, and it was just time to lay down. And yesterday I spent virtually the whole day just resting. And I think you'd be proud, because yesterday morning, I did a meditation to get out of my head, just to kind of release some things. And then I also found a pregnancy meditation that I've been doing as well. So I've done both of those a few times since yesterday, just to try to get more quiet in my mind, and really just kind of talk to the baby and be a little bit more intuitive with my body and the baby, and just be more respectful of that. This is a more tender time. This is not the time to be superwoman. This is the time for me to just, I can still work, and I do, but it's time to be a little bit more gentle with myself. So thank you for that.
Oh, I love hearing that. And that is the key to your journey right here, is learning to respect what you need and asking for what you need, and creating the space and the time for what you need, so that you can have a successful, healthy pregnancy. So that's it for today. We're going to go ahead and close off. I want to thank you so much, Darnita, for being willing to share your story and your journey, knowing that you are touching the hearts of so many women out there. Please visit my website, sandrajoneskeller.com. You can sign up to receive my free top 10 tips to develop a deeper spiritual bond with your baby. Please share these videos. There's thousands of pregnant women out there who would love to have a spiritual, holistic, empowering conversation. So until next time, have a fantastic day.